Okay, Arijit, we can start. I would request everybody to go on mute. We will have a question answer session at the end. Um, and at the same time, we are using a free account. So we are going to do this in 2 meetings because we have a limit of 40 minutes. So we are going to take a break in the middle and create another link and share it here and then join again. Because we won't be able to complete it in 40 minutes. So that is the plan.
সেম লিংক আবার ইউজ করলে বোধহয় আবার কাজ করবে।
সেম লিংক, হ্যাঁ আমি তো আমার আইডিটাই ইউজ করছি, তো সেম লিংক কিন্তু পাসওয়ার্ড হয়তো চেঞ্জ হবে, জানি না, সেটা আমি দেখছি।
হ্যাঁ
কিন্তু
ঠিক
আমরা
আছে,
হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ আর ফেসবুক দুটো জায়গাতেই শেয়ার করব।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
Okay, so good evening everyone. This is the first session as part of like this journey, having to, so that we can help each other to know more about what are the investment options or the tools we have in Canada. And this is more of like to achieve some financial literacy or financial well-being for the community. Now we have few people who have volunteered today. Swanand, Silpi and Jyotida has volunteered to share their experiences, to share their knowledge with us. So we are going to start with Swanand, but before that I would like to have a disclaimer that everyone should do your research before making any financial decisions. Before making any financial decisions, please do reach out to your own financial advisors. Neither Kolkata-Days or anyone who is part of this call, being moderator, organizer, speakers, are liable for any loss or any kind of investment decisions that you make after this call. So I would hand it over to Swanand to start the session for today.
Thanks, Arjit. Is everybody able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So my name is Swanand Gupte. My wife is Gargi, and you may know her. She's more popular than I am. I'm not. My native language is not Bengali, although I'm married to one, and I love all Bengalis. Most importantly, Bengali food and Bengali sweets. So just before I begin my talk, just a brief introduction about myself. We came to Canada in late 2016, so we've just about 5 years in this country now. We became citizens late last year. I'm in terms of my background, I'm an engineer and an MBA. My main profession is management consulting, and right now I work at TELUS, which is a telco here in Canada, and currently in my role I lead a data science team. So that's my sort of professional background. So first of all, thanks a lot for organizing this session. I think investments is both a daunting can be a daunting topic, but at the same time it's important, and it's important to create awareness and to demystify things around investment. When you think of investments in Canada, right? I mean, I think one good thing is that the government of Canada already provides a little bit of framework in terms of how you can think of investment. See, because I mean, investments can be anything, right? You can invest in real estate, you can invest in art. Some people invest in single malt whiskey as well. So I mean, there are n number of options out there to invest. But as a newcomer, or let's say as an ordinary person, right? How do you start thinking about investments? And I think that's where I like how the government of Canada has come up with what I would call, let's say, vehicles, right, to think about your investment. And I think Jyotida will speak a little bit more about what in detail what those investments are. But in my mind, there are three most important ones. I think the first one, and probably the most popular, is the RRSP, which is the retirement savings program. The other one in my mind is TFSA, and which is your regular savings and program. And then the last one is RESP, which is more related to education for your children. I will speak mainly today about TFSA and RESP. RRSP is also a very important topic. I personally don't have a lot of experience in RRSP, and the reason is that given that my company has a pension program, I choose to invest through that pension program and not necessarily take advantage of the RRSP account that we are allowed to have. So yeah, so speaking about let's start with TFSA, right? I think one of the the long form of TFSA is a tax-free savings account. And right off the bat, I think one of the things that tripped me up, right, and this was like again one of those things which needed demystification, was the fact that they said it was a tax-free savings account. And when we all people especially coming from India, when we think of savings account, we think of a regular bank account where you invest money, then you get some interest, and all of that, right? So that's the savings account, the usual one. But it turns out that what the tax-free savings account, the in this TFSA, the TF is the biggest or the most important part, again, in my mind, which is the tax-free component of it. And really what the government is doing is it's allowing you a certain amount in a year, and saying that you can take and invest money up to that amount every year, and we will not charge you taxes for it, right? So in the best case scenario, I mean, think of it this way, right? Like you took let's say invested $100 as part of this TFSA account in whatever instrument, maybe it's a stock, it's a mutual fund, whatever, and then tomorrow that $100 became $1,000. The good thing is the government tells you that I will not tax you on any gains that you make as part of this account, right? So I think that's the most important part, which is the tax-free part of this account. So that was the first point which tripped me up, is this is like it's not really a savings account. I think the biggest thing is this is an investment account, and you can use that to make your investments. Number two pitfall, I would say, and again sharing my experience, when I came to Canada, as we all do on our second day of or first day of coming to Canada, we went to TD Bank and we opened accounts, right, like banking accounts. Now, unknown to me, this person actually opened a bunch of accounts: a regular savings account, a tax-free savings account, and number of accounts. And I think they get incentivized by the number of different types of accounts that you open with a given new customer. Now, because I was not aware of this, for the first 6 months or maybe even a year of my existence in Canada, I didn't even know that I had a TFSA account already open in my name. So I think the first, I guess, one tip would be just look through your bank accounts to see if your bank has inadvertently or without your knowledge not opened like a TFSA account for you. So that was like pitfall number one. Then as I started learning through colleagues and all of that about this TFSA account, I realized that oh, there is such a thing. And then I realized I have already an account. But the problem with that is, with a regular bank account, or certainly with what I had was with TD Bank, the TFSA account was a regular savings account, so no investment or anything associated with it. So the first thing I did was actually I closed that TFSA account and I opened a TFSA account with TD Direct Investing, which is sort of like a brokerage, right? So what that allows you to do is it allows you to invest through that account in multiple avenues, right, or multiple instruments such as stocks, mutual funds, whatever, bonds, etc. So I think that was
time check one.
Time check one. Thank you. So that was that was the first first step for me. Now having opened this account, like how do you start using it, right? And again, the way I started doing it, and the way I have been doing it is that I make regular monthly contributions in my TFSA account. So and that again depends on how much you want to put in there. But typically what I do is I think $6,000 is what the government gives you the allowance for per year. to put into this account. So I just divide that by 12, and every month, I try to put in $500. And the easiest way that I have found to do it is on the first of month, I do an automated transfer from my bank account to TFSA account. And then that way, in all my cash flows or anything like that, that doesn't even appear, right? So I trick my own mind to kind of do these savings. Now, in terms of what I just want to briefly touch, I know Shilpi will probably touch a little bit more on this, but what to do after you have this money in this TFSA account, how to invest that money. There are different ways to do it. Again, without getting specific into what can be done, my biggest suggestion to everyone would be do something, right? Start doing it. And the reason I say that is there is a big learning curve when it comes to investments. I felt like, I have an MBA, I read newspapers, so I thought, oh, this what's there, I'll just do my research, I'll start investing, and I'll know everything. But actually it takes some time. Once you invest some money, you see how it goes. You learn to to understand the market. You learn to also manage your own emotions, because it's hard. Your own money, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. So there is a big learning curve involved in investment. And my suggestion is, the only way you can learn, in my mind at least, is to do it. Right now, obviously, everybody's risk tolerance is different. So it's okay to start small. I don't know, start with $1,000, invest it in whatever instrument you want, see how you do over some time, increase your investments, etc. But
Time check too.
yeah, so I'm almost done, Indrajit. So yeah, so that would be my my 2 cents in terms of especially around TFSA, which is mainly designed to be something that you can use for saving and growing your savings, intended for sort of, I would say, short to medium term expenses or use, right? The next one, again, I won't speak a whole lot about it, is RESP, and RESP came into my life when my son was born, and again, I didn't know much, but by then I knew that whatever I did, I should not delay any investments. So I knew that I had to open the account. So I opened an RESP account. Again, my personal view on RESP is that I like to invest through the RESP account into low risk type instruments, mainly because I feel like it's my son's education money, so I need to be a little bit more careful around that. Now, that logic, I don't know if it's sound or not, but that is my logic, right? So that's how I look at it. But I think RESP is also pretty cool. And what I try to do is I try to maximize the government's contribution. So I think the government pays 20% of your contribution, puts it into the account, up to $500. So therefore, I kind of invest $2,000 every year so that I can get $500 from the government into that account. So again, I won't go into the technical details of RESP. There are quite a few actually technical details on both TFSA and RESP in terms of how do you what can you put in, what can you take out, when can you take out, etc. But I think those are those are something that one needs to read about or get some advice on. But overall, I would say, again, as far as investments is concerned, as newcomers to Canada, like, that's not something that is top of mind for us. There's so many things to do: find a house, find a job, settle down. This is something that we shouldn't lose sight of, because at the end of the day, in a country like Canada, right, where inflation is growing, you at least need to deploy your money in a way that it at least covers for that growth in inflation, and it helps you catch up financially as well. Also very important for me, it was very important because I moved here in like my mid 30s, and ideally investment should start in 20s. So to me, it was even more important to accelerate this, because I had lost like 10 years of my life, like, not doing any investments in my mind again, right? So yeah, so I think with that, thanks a lot, Indrajit and Ajit. I'll stop here, and happy to take any questions at the end of the session.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Sonam.
Swanand.
Okay, so now we have Silpi with us. So Silpi would be helping us to understand more and would be talking about more on the ETF and stocks.
Sure.
Silpi, over to you.
Thank you, Arijit. And hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible. So my name is Shilpi Ghosh, and I live in Brampton with my husband, Sumon. And he has recently joined the football team after a couple of meetup in the KD group, and he's enjoying that. So I have joined KD group, couple of like 2 years ago, but I was mostly like a silent participant. But over the last 6 months, I have attended a couple of more meetups and info sessions that Indro has been, organizing, and it's really helpful to be part of this community. So again, thank you, everyone. And you have already heard the disclaimer. So the details that I will be talking about, it's based on my research, it's based on my experience and learnings. So please do your research whenever you are deciding on the investment journey. So yeah, so as they say, the best time to invest was yesterday. If you didn't invest yesterday, the time is today. So hopefully this session, once you hear from Jyotida and once, after hearing from Swanand, you are a little bit closer in your investment literacy journey. So my part is talking about ETF and stocks. So as you heard from Swanand, that there are multiple, tools that Canadian government provides to save your money, either for either TTFSA, RRSP, or RESP. So what do you do once you have opened those accounts? Where do you invest your money, right? So I can talk about my own experience. I work in Accenture, and there is an RRSP, retirement savings program, in my company where I have already, invested part of my, bi-weekly salary. It goes towards that program. So go and check if you haven't started, or if you haven't started your contribution from your office, just check, talk to your finance department and check what's the limit. Because for me, Accenture does up to 6%, they pay like 100%, they match up to 100%. So every organization will have their different goals and different, so make sure you are maximized, because it's like a free money from that you're getting from your company. You shouldn't be losing out on that. So the investment or the stocks or the funds that I invest from my office side, it's all on mutual funds. I have a financial advisor who is managing that mutual funds and everything that is from my office side. But personally, when the COVID happened, my husband and I, we decided, we do have our financial advisors, but it's good that we upskill ourselves, because we should know where our money is going. We should be able to have those smart conversations and discussions with your financial advisors, because if you don't do your research, if you don't learn about these, you won't be able to ask those right questions. And so we took some time and we started our financial literacy journey, and we did a bit of research, and we opened accounts in Questrade and Wealthsimple. These are free apps. When I say free app, it's free to download. They don't charge anything. But obviously, when you buy stocks or ETFs, you have to pay. So I use both Wealthsimple and ETF. I have opened RRSP and TFSA accounts from these both the apps. So talking about ETF or stocks, what does that mean, right? So ETF is nothing but it's called exchange traded fund. So think of it as in this way. Like I read it some time ago, that when you go into a supermarket, there is a can of soup that you buy, and there is this whole grocery store. So a can of soup can be your stock, where you're buying only one thing, and then this whole grocery store is your bunch of different stocks, but put it in an ETF format. So stocks is basically, and my recommendation would be, it can get very tempting when you start investing in these apps. So my recommendation would be, start with ETFs, because stocks is basically, if you follow a company, and if you have faith in a company, like this company will grow. Say for example, Apple or Microsoft or Google, like if you think that these companies are going to do well, you can buy stocks or for these individual companies. But being a first time investor, you want to diversify your portfolio, right? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You rather will want to diversify, and that's where ETFs come into play. So the difference between ETFs or exchange traded funds and mutual funds are, ETFs are, most of the ETFs are passively managed. For mutual funds, you and Jyotida, I'm sure you will cover a lot more context about mutual funds and other stuff. So ETFs, they are mostly passively managed, whereas in mutual funds, you have a fund manager who are actively managing those funds. So, and ETFs, those are passively managed. So basically, it's a very good tool for diversification. So, and ETFs are also, you can buy ETFs, based on your sectors or industry that you have, interest. Like for example, I am interested in buying ETFs for energy sector, for semiconductors, similarly for autonomous and electric vehicles. So you can, do some research, like what are the top ETFs in these areas, and then you can buy, through this Wealthsimple or Questrade app. So in Wealthsimple, say for example, one ETF is like $300 ETF. So there are options that you don't have to purchase the entire ETF. Even if you have $100, you can buy a fraction of that ETF. So you go ahead and explore the apps like Wealthsimple. They also have a great reading materials online, like it can help you, educate yourself. So go ahead and learn about all these ETFs and stocks, and about via how you can, invest or in these via these apps. So opening up an account in Wealthsimple or Questrade is really, really simple, and again, as Swanan said, fix your budget, like, or have some kind of, discipline in place, like every month, how much you are going to invest in these accounts, right? And these tools are really, really helpful to build your portfolio in Canada. So once you have decided that every month I will say, for example, TFSA, I will have $500, or RRSP, I will invest $500. So once you have connected your Wealthsimple account to your bank account, every month you can either do I'm not sure if automatic, I have to check. I go ahead and manually transfer funds from the app directly, and then buy stocks of or ETFs for different companies. So few of these stocks that I have bought, and you will you will lose money. But the goal when we are getting into investment, think about it as a long-term investment. You don't need to check your portfolio every day, because funds will go up and down, and so will your heartbeat. So think about that. You're here for the long run. So if you keep your fund, and if you don't get super anxious about funds, how they're performing every day in the stock market, you should be good. You will over time, it will definitely you will reap benefits. So yeah, so I have invested in a couple of, like, it was a learning curve for me. I have lost some money. When I say loss, I have invested a very little, like $100 or something. But I have invested in Tesla, like it's doing really well, or it did really well during the pandemic time. But there are few, when you do your research, you will also understand that there are some cyclical stocks, like during pandemic, a lot of stocks, they did really well, like for example, Peloton or Netflix. So these go up and down with the different kind of other economic factors in the market. But if you buy ETFs, it's basically say you're buying a tech ETF, right? So tech ETF is basically different tech companies. You can buy different stocks for from different markets for different tech companies.
Time check. One.
Okay. So for example, if you want to buy stock for Apple, for example, if Apple does good, your stock will do good. But if tomorrow Apple's shares, comes down, you will also lose money. But what happens in ETF, say Apple is part of one of the ETF, so are other companies. So eventually, if one company is doing bad, if others, rest of them are doing good, your ETF will be, balanced like that. So yeah. That's pretty much my, message from this for you. Do your research, and if you have any questions how to open an account in Wealthsimple or Questrade, I'm happy to help. That's all from me, Indra.
Thank you, Shilpi. Arijit?
Yeah, thank you, Silpi. Thank you, Swanand. Just to help us understanding. Another thing is that we would be sharing, we'll be closing this link, and we'll share a fresh Zoom link for the rest of the session.
So like we said earlier, so this session has been broken into two parts. In the first part, we had two Jonagons who had done a few investments and shared their experiences with us. Now, in the second part of the session, we'll have an experienced investment advisor who is going to explain some of the basics to us. Because we are using a free account in Zoom today, we have a limit of 40 minutes. So we will be ending the session now. We will be immediately creating a link and sharing that in Facebook and WhatsApp. So request you all to join back as soon as possible.
Indrajit,
Yes.
hi. Can I ask a question to Shilpi? Time ache ki?
We have time. Yes. Go ahead.
Shilpi, you've used Questrade and Wealthsimple,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Etar moddhe, do you have a preference on which one is better?
See, better, when we say better, it's mostly about user experience. So I found Wealthsimple much better than Questrade. So, but my husband loves investing via Questrade, but my preference is Wealthsimple because as it has simple in its name, it is really simple. And it was like, it's like playing like a mobile game. You will get used to it in no time. So Wealthsimple is my favorite.
One question, is there like
আর একটা ব্যাপার যে ওয়েলথ সিম্পলে কোনো ফ্র্যাকশন মানে কোনো কমিশন দিতে হয় না, there is no commission in wealth simple, but in Questrade you have to pay, I think, a fractional commissions. Sorry, Indrajit.
oh, so okay, so in Wealthsimple it's like Robinhood where the commission is
Robinhood, exactly same Robinhood. The main difference is that you don't have the real-time data.
Okay,
You have to pay $3 per month, I think 3.99 or something, just to get the real-time data. But you have fractional purchase, you have crypto purchase, you have stocks, bonds, ETFs, everything.
okay. And is there any other difference, like if we do US trading, is there any difference with the conversion?
If you just go for their premium accounts for NASDAQ and NFTs, like you don't have to give anything extra apart from the exchange rate for US trading. And you have to file a tax in US if you are doing US trading, and you have to have your valid SIN, SSN. I mean to say, sorry, SSN. Sorry, Shilpi, go ahead.
No, from Wealthsimple, there is this, Wealthsimple doesn't charge any commission fees. It's just, I think 1.5 or 1.3. I need to check, it might have changed. There's this exchange fee. If you're buying stocks or ETF, which is in US dollars, just the exchange fee that is, that you have to provide. And in Questrade, like no matter you buy one stock or one ETF or you buy 10, I think there up to 10, there is like $4 or $5, some kind of fee that I think Rahul was talking about. And I have not invested in Questrade for a long time.
Questradeটা অনেকটা E-Trade এর মতো, যারা ইউএসএ তে ট্রেডিং করেছে ওটা হলো E-Trade এর মতো, আর ইন্দ্রজিৎ যেটা বললো রবিনহুড সেটা হলো ওয়েলথসিম্পল। এখানে একটা পুরোপুরি ফ্রি, একটা হলো তোমার ট্রেডিং এর সময় কিছু টাকা ওরা চার্জ করে, কমিশন যেটাকে বলে।
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just আরেকটা জিনিস অ্যাড করে দেব just before we sign off, like because অনেকজন ইউএস স্টক নিয়ে, সো অনেকগুলো এখানে ইন্ডেক্স ফান্ড আছে কানাডায়, which মানে if you invest in Canadian, like just like ETF, so you invest in those TD or say BlackRock's index funds, they on behalf of you invest in or follow S&P 500, or they use the US, invest in US, hold the US stocks.
Yeah, you basically purchase in Canadian dollars instead of US dollars.
Yes. So like if somebody is looking for like US SSN নেই বা এই জিনিসটা, so that is another option, like instead of having direct ETF, but there might be performance differences between.
So those are like Canadian hedged funds, like they buy stock, I don't know, the banks or some third party, they buy stocks in US dollars, but they sell in Canadian dollars.
So, yes, it's basically a kind of a mutual fund which you are investing in Canada, but that mutual fund has its like what assets, basically it holds US assets for you.
Oh, nice. So probably
let's try the other one.
Yeah, we can, but these are very good points and I would like to know more, so maybe we can have more sessions on these. in the
but
future.
but one thing ইন্দ্রজিৎ আমি বলতে চাই যদি নিউ কমার্স কেউ হয় স্পেশালি এটা আমার from personal experience they start with paper trading. Don't go with the real time cash trading because when you lose your hard money, usually it happens that you feel like you are doing something wrong, that's why you are losing money, and you feel that this is not for you, you just move on from there. It's better start with your paper trading, get the experience, okay, understand the market, and then just move to just the actual trading, and don't invest anything based on any suggestions, any YouTube gurus. There are a lot of YouTube gurus, there are a lot of brokers, there are a lot of, I would say, the middleman
Telegram
who will
channels.
just force you that, okay, this market is booming and just go for it. This is the right dip. This is the best dip for you. Okay. And I would say that don't get trapped on all those things because it doesn't matter that you have to invest right away. Okay. The best thing is that you just learn what to invest and what to not.
Yeah.
এটা জাস্ট মানে আমি আমার পার্সোনাল এক্সপিরিয়েন্স থেকে বলছি।
রাহুল পেপার ট্রেডিং নিয়ে একটু ডিটেইলসে বলবে কি ব্যাপার এক্স্যাক্টলি কি করো তোমরা?
পেপার ট্রেডিংটা দেখো আমি প্রায়
Rahul, sorry.
You
Just
might get
1 minute আছে. I think like next Zoom again, if we discuss, I think
No, let's we will park this question for the end. আমরা ডিসকাস করব।
no problem. Yeah, okay.
তাহলে এটা এক জায়গায় থাকবে, সরি।
ঠিক আছে, তো আমরা এখন সেশনটা এন্ড করছি। And please, we will share the link in WhatsApp and Facebook. So please join as soon as possible.
Yep.
Okay, thank you everyone.